What's up, idiots? You're in the machine. Just kidding, you're not idiots. Sometimes we feel like idiots, though, when we're doing something new because we've never done it before. I'm a bit of an idiot at running a camera, as you may have noticed. Crow pose, Kakasana. It is a fun pose to play with and a great arm balance to start with because it doesn't require all that much strength. It also seems to be the one that everybody wants to learn. I have a couple of tutorials right here on this channel for Crow, but it occurred to me that for some people, some baby steps may be in order, so we can not just walk before we run, but crawl before we walk. This is a tutorial that explains Crow in a couple of modified positions for a total beginner. I guarantee when you're done with this, you'll be off the ground. If not, money back. Okay, as I said, this is more about balance than strength. If you can squat down like this and you can hold yourself up in a plank with bent arms, not even a chaturanga, just can you hold yourself here with your arms a little bit bent? If you can do that, you can do Crow. I'm going to start by actually taking you out of position to give you the feeling of the balance and the wrist compression. This is not how you want to ultimately do it, but it's a great place to start. It's like anything. You start with kind of crappy form and it slowly gets better. So we're going to squat down, yogi squat style with our knees out, but our heels off the mat. We're going to take the points of the elbows and place them in between the calf muscle and the hamstring, that little crease right there. We're going to set them there and there. Palms are up, and then we're going to turn the palms down, fingers forward to catch us if we fall. From here, place the hands on the mat and push out. We actually want them wider than normal, almost as wide as the knees. So this would be about shoulder width for a regular Crow. I'm going to plant these elbows out almost at the knee, right where this crease ends. And then I'm going to turn the palms down out at the same width as the knee, like directly under the elbows now. Place them on the mat. Squeeze the mat. This is important, not just to keep you from falling forward using those fingers, but to engage the forearm and protect the wrist. If you just slop into this, it's going to be rough on your wrist, but if you squeeze the hand to the mat and you engage the forearm, it'll protect the wrist. So elbows in place, arms really wide, set them down, and then we're going to lean forward. Just start by leaning. Feel the push, feel the compression of the wrist. This not only starts to teach you the balance point, but it's also less intimidating because I'm much lower to the mat. If I fall, it's only a couple of inches. So elbows in place, palms up, turn them down, really wide hands, set them down, and then shift, pushing with the toes forward. When you feel like you have something close to a balance point, take one toe off, just one at a time. Make the weight on that supporting foot really light. When that feels good, take that toe off also. Now you're actually in the air doing a Crow. The position of your head and your feet will create the counterbalance on either side of the fulcrum that is your hands. So one more time, and then we're going to start picking up the pace here. Wide knees, heels off the mat. Wide as they'll go. Palms up. I plug the elbow points into the crease between the calf and the hamstring right at the end. Palms are up. I turn the palms down, place them on the mat, squeeze the mat, shift forward. See, I'm not just plugging my shoulders in close to my ears. I'm actually pulling them back and leaning forward with my chest. Now when I feel like the toes are getting a little bit light, I lift one and then I lift the other. I'm off the ground now doing very little work because of the balance, and if I crash, it's just not that bad. Work on that until you can hold it for 5 or 10 seconds, and now add the next part. We're actually going to bring the knees a little closer together, and we're going to set the bottom of the tricep at that same spot, but this time it's not hooked in the little crease. It's just pushing against the knee as the knee squeezes in. So we're creating opposing force here. Knees push in, elbows push out. That creates the connection. So this bottom of the tricep, right at the same spot, but not plugged in the crease. Same idea, palms up. I turn them down. They're still wider than they're going to be eventually, but they're not as wide as they were before. This time I lift my hips a little bit, maintaining the connection to bring my palms under me. This is easier, so I don't have to do a huge shift. I just shift a little bit. So I lift my hips and my palms drag across the mat a little bit. Now I squeeze in with my knees and push out with my elbows, and it's the same idea. As I feel my toes get light, I lift one and then the other. And now I'm in crow, or a modified version of crow. When you've got to where you can hold this 5 or 10 seconds, let's really pick up the pace. The engagement you had in the arm to push out and the engagement you had in the leg to squeeze in is still going to be there, but there's not going to be anything to push against. So this time I bring the knees quite a bit closer, maybe hip width if I can, if not, then a little bit outside. I'm going to set the top of the knee, not the kneecap, but like the end of the femur, the end of the thigh bone, right at the base of that tricep. Notice how I'm still palms up. Now I leave it in place and I turn the palms down. I don't let the arms slide off though. These stay. It's actually a perfect little spot. It's like a little groove, like an oarlock for the base of my tricep, right above my elbow to sit. Now I leave it in place as I turn the palms down, lean forward, catch myself, and then lift my hips again to bring my base under me. That's going to be so much easier than trying to leap forward. Now I keep everything in place, shoulders out of the ears. I don't want to be jammed up here. I want to be open, scapula together. Now I lift my hips and that brings my hands back close to me. Now I start to shift. Once I feel like I can get a little bit of lightness, I lift one foot and then the other. And now I'm in a pretty solid crow. You might feel like there's some slipping and sliding. That's okay. That just means you need to engage a little more. So one more time, final product. We'll do it from the side. Up off the heels in a squat. Knees are about hip width. Elbows line up. They can be a little bit wider, but that was what we were practicing before. Let's start bringing them in line to set up crane and flying crow and even a handstand and other balances later. Elbows in, palms up, palms turned down. Place the mat, squeeze, start engaging now, including the core. Lift the hips a little bit to bring the palms back, and then shift forward when you can, one foot, and then the other foot. Squeeze the heels toward the butt, point the toes, look forward, lead with the chest. You're in crow pose. You gotta baby step your way through these new movements or you'll never learn them. I hope you enjoyed this crow tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the little bell.
But the whole point of the machine is to relieve you of that suffering.